Too black, too strong. Too black, too strong.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna fuck with me.
Any character approach me, I let the streets get the best of me. Infamy, my destiny. Getting paid for my vocal. Here is something you can't understand.
I can just kill a man.
Hear it.
So now I'm setting up the ultimate drive-by. And when you hear this shit, it make the world say, damn, I wanna kill Slam. Give me that bass and don't try to run up. I hope he wear vest too, and his best blue. Going up against the Zulu.
I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me.
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Casino on the ass, spotted her more than once. Ass so fat that you can see it from the front. You fuck off my money, don't cop no sleep.
Cause I'm the wrong nigga to fuck with.
I'm the boss of all boss. 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 I'm the boss of all boss.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Daniel Tye, D-Tye 90, also known as a student of hip hop, here today with the Falsetto audio show. Here today on Friday. It's been a crazy ass Friday today, y'all. From midnight this morning to midnight now. It does not stop. But it's a good thing because we got a lot of energy and we got a lot of shit going on. So we won't bullshit with the positivity today, and we gonna talk about what we know y'all want to talk about. And I know what y'all gonna say, Cardi B. But it's not that simple. Because as last night I did get on my phone at midnight. Well, technically I'm in Arizona, so it's not midnight. It was like 10 o'clock. But I got on my phone and checked, oh shit, the new Cardi B album is up. Cool. But then right next to that Cardi B album, I almost forgot. The E40 Be Legit album came out today. And then I looked and oh shit, the Flatbush Zombies EP is out today. And I know it came out a few days ago, but I've been on Saba. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Saba album is fucking dope, and I want to talk about it for just a little bit. So my question was today was, what's the best album I've listened to today? Or project? Because Flatbush Zombies, it's an EP, and whatever. What's the best project today? So I'm narrowing it down from the 4. I know there was other projects today. I know Famous Dex put some shit out today. I'll listen to that shit later. Eric Bellinger put a project out today. I'll listen to that shit later. But nah. All right. So first, the Cardi B album. The Cardi B album surprised me from the rip. I opened that track list, I'm jaw dropped, nigga. I saw SZA and Kehlani on that track list. Ooh, I was like, oh ho, I know they're not gonna let me down. Those were the first 2 songs I listened to off of it, and I was not disappointed. For those 2 tracks alone, the project is amazing. Before I listened to the Cardi B album, I listened to the E40 Be Legit album. That was the first album I listened to on Friday. And E40 and Be Legit, they came with them blaps. That whole album is full of blaps. They channeled the West Coast. Let me give a proper. Let me do this properly. E40 is the heartbeat of the West Coast. He is the heartbeat of the West Coast. He has been putting out albums for 20 plus years. I believe in a major way came out in 98 or 96. And even before In a Major Way, that was his first big album. He had Federal before that. And that's when he put out Captain Save-A-Ho, which is arguably one of the most impactful songs he had ever put out. I don't say the biggest, most impactful, significant songs in his career. And the term is still used today. Don't be out here saving hoes. So, and he is consistently, I don't know if a year has gone by without an E40. Maybe 1 or 2 years at the most in between have gone by in the last 20 years. We haven't got an E40 project. But when people say, where's West Coast? Where's this West Coast hip hop? I hear it all the time. I see it all the time on social media. Or people tell me all the time, say, I just want that West Coast. There's nothing like that Doggy Style again. There's nothing like that Chronic. Well, no, you're not going to get another Doggy Style. You're not going to get another Chronic from anybody. Unless Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg get back in the studio again. So don't expect that. What you did get in that same time was you did get Ice Cube. You did get E40. You did get Mac 10. You did get Dub C. You did get Warren G. You got Nate Dogg. And a lot of other guys that I don't want to dig too far deep because I don't leave anybody out. You got all those guys in the West Coast. And E40 consistently put out music. He had a hit a few years ago with Big Sean. And it ended up being Big Sean's biggest hit. So all you had to do, that hit West Coast did not die. That's why I'm saying he's the heartbeat, because the West Coast never died. If you wanted to see if West Coast music was still being pumped out, you just had to go check E40. All right, good. West Coast still here. E40's here. We still good. We still cooking. And he gave those funky beats. One of the songs, I can't remember the name of the song. I'm slipping it. Where he took the Freaky Tales beat the same way. I'm sorry. He took the Freaky Tales beat the same way that, I forget his name. Yo Gotti, Nicki Minaj took that Freaky Tales beat and did Rake It Up. E40 took that same shit and did it better. Ooh. And Be Legit. It's hard to describe what Be Legit brings. But whenever Be Legit is on a song, whether it's his song, whether he's featured, you always know he's there. You always know his sound. And he compliments E40 so well. And E40 compliments Be Legit so well. And you have to listen to the album. I'll probably listen to the album 2 or 3 times today. It's amazing. Next, this Flatbush Zombies EP. The Flatbush Zombies are continuing to impress me. Every time I go and check on there, there's always good music from Flatbush Zombies. They never let me down. They did their freestyle on Funk Flex this week too. I think on Wednesday. It was pretty dope. I forget the names of all the guys, but very dope freestyle, very dope EP. It's the shit. There's not a lot for me to say about it. It's only 3 songs. It's really good. It's Flatbush Zombies setting the tone for what they're wanting to put out. I'm assuming over the next maybe 2 months or so, when they put out an actual LP. But lastly, Saba. To be honest, I've never heard of Saba. Period. I just happened to be browsing new albums and I came across it this week. It is so dope. It is so dope. You have to forgive me. I always hate comparing people. I always hate comparing the way they do with LeBron. They compare LeBron to Michael. And I don't like it because you don't get another Michael. We're never going to get another LeBron. Can we just leave them be and appreciate what we have? Let's appreciate the Russell Westbrook who set the record for triple doubles. So same thing with hip hop. I want to appreciate what we have. But this cat, I haven't heard anybody in hip hop with breath control and flow like Kendrick until this cat. I've heard it before with other rappers, but as far as since Kendrick, I haven't heard anybody with breath control and a flow like Kendrick, and is able to adjust it and manipulate his voice in the same way, where Kendrick Lamar does 3 or 4 different types of voices over a song. Saba could do the exact same thing. And he tells stories like J. Cole. The way J. Cole did the Wet Dream song on the 2014 Forest Hill Drives, Saba does a similar thing on this album called Prom Night. The shit's dope. You gotta listen to it. Even from the artwork on the album cover, so much. It reminded me of a combination of the Kendrick Lamar EP and To Pimp a Butterfly. A little combination of that. That's what this album reminds me of, from the production to the rapping style to the artwork of it. So that's all I'm going to say. You gotta check it out. If you're not checking it out, you're sleeping on it. So with all that considered, what's the best album today? Well, I'm gonna say, hands down, E40 is the best album. That shit has the replay value. That shit has it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like the West Coast funk. I can listen to hit songs all day long. And that's this Cardi B album is full of. It's full of hit songs. Songs that you turn up to as you go to the club, or you leave the club, or at 2 in the morning in the Jack in the Box. That's the fuck you turn up. But for E40, I'll listen to that shit the rest of the day. All day long. No, I love West Coast funk. I'm biased. 100% biased. West Coast all day. All right. So with that said, we covered the best album today. But now, I want to know, what does it mean when an artist retires? When an artist says they aren't putting out music anymore, or they're retired from rapping, does that mean they don't put any music at all? Does that mean they don't put any albums? Does that mean they don't put out any mixtapes? No singles? Can they still do features? Can they still do group work? Do they still write? Are they still involved with music? Are they producing? What does it mean? Because recently, over the past month, we had Jeezy announce that his next album is going to be his last album. We had SZA who said her next album is going to be her last album. And just for flavor, because I listen to the Joe Budden podcast every week, we always got to hear that Joe Budden is retired. And I'm curious how long he sticks to it. You know, whatever works out for him. You know, if he feels the need to put out a project to take advantage of some of the momentum he has, that's cool too. If he feels like collaborating with the Slaughterhouse again, that's cool too. But I'm curious to see how long this stays where there's no music at all in the Spotify or Apple or iTunes or Tidal realm without his name on it, unless it's in the podcast category. So with SZA is still going to write. She's still going to write for other artists. So she's still going to be making music, but it appears that she's not going to put out any of her own music. Which, from her interviews, she's always been reluctant to put out the music she has. Almost sort of like a perfectionist, where she's just, that creativity, it's just always going, and she always wants to change a little thing here and there. And that's why her music comes out so amazing. That's why she's That's why she's a top 3 streamed artist on Apple with one album and like a little EP with one album. With Jeezy kind of makes sense though, a little bit, because Jeezy he's always been very clear with us as far as what his background is before he became a rapper. And oftentimes with some of these guys, I don't want to say these guys like being offensive, but sometimes when you come from that kind of lifestyle or you come from any any lifestyle that is less than ideal, let me say. If you come from a lifestyle that's less than ideal and you get a way out, that way out may or not have been your first choice to how you wanted to get out. It may have been your only option. So whether that is slanging dope or whether that's stuck in a 9-to-5 job, if you're working in a 9-to-5 job and you become a rapper and you're able to make money, well, your only other option is to keep rapping or go back to your 9-to-5 job, right? Or you got to figure out something else to do. But these are just the most recent ones. These are just the most recent people that have announced it. And this is why I'm bringing it up. But there's always been a history of people announcing retirement and coming back. Because at the end of the day, if you are a true artist, and I feel we all are creative in our own aspect. Sure, some of us can paint. Some of us can make music. Some of us can sculpt. Some of us can sew. Design, graphic design. There's different methods of being creativity, of creativity. And I feel like we're all creative in our own way. Whether you work with numbers, you may be able to be creative with numbers. Or whether, you draw and you're the person that draws mock-ups for cars. Or say you're an architect. Those creative juices don't necessarily never stop. They may not have been what people have always wanted. And when I say what people always wanted, sometimes in the example of a rapper, your music may be what people want today, but people don't necessarily want that exact same kind of music or type of music you create 5 years from now. You may just had lightning in a bottle. You may have been copied, whatever. But nonetheless, you are creative at it and you're good at it. So you're not going to just stop. So then it's sort of maybe what's your motivation for it? And the 3 people I named, SZA, Jeezy, and Joe Budden. I think these 3 will remain retired. And when I say remain retired, I don't think any music will come out from them. They may do features at the most, but nothing more. It'll be sort of like a ditty, maybe, where Diddy kind of talks on your song. We may get something like that. We may get SZA singing a hook. We may be getting Jeezy do a verse, maybe talking on a track. We may get a Joe Budden feature. There's certain stuff you don't turn down. There's certain opportunities you don't turn down just because you say you're retired. KRS-One gave a great example one time. I forgot where he was doing an interview with. I think he might have been doing the interview on Drink Champs. And he said, in reference to rappers having writers, is it fair game or is it foul? And he said, well, it's fair game. And from a true lyricist like KRS-One, it's a bit perplexing. But he said there's certain stuff you just don't turn down. He said, if Rakim gives me a verse, I'm not turning down a Rakim verse. I don't care. You can say I have a ghostwriter all you want, but if I have the opportunity for a Rakim verse, I'm taking a Rakim verse. So I think, yes, an artist can stay retired, but sometimes opportunities are too good, and sometimes it's just promo. We saw Lloyd Banks do it to us for promo, and I'm not mad at him. Okay, so now my next question is, does going gold or going platinum mean anything right now? So if you aren't necessarily in the loop, which you may not be as far as some of the music industry back-end paperwork type shit, well, one of the phenomenons is streaming. And the phenomenon with streaming is you can manipulate the numbers. So, for example, this Cardi B album that she put out today, Friday, is already gold. So before I say anything negative about it, a little round of applause. Sorry if that was really loud. It's already gold, but part of the reason it's already gold is because she gets to count all the streams from Bodak Yellow and Bartier Cardi. So if we say, for example, I don't know I forget off top the exact metrics for what makes you gold in terms of streams. But let's say going gold is 5 million streams. And Bodak Yellow has 6 million streams. Well, Bodak Yellow is on her album Invasion of Privacy that came out today. So technically, Invasion of Privacy already has 6 million streams right off the bat. It is already gold right off the bat. Because that album itself has 6 million streams from it. Because one song in it has 6 million streams. They may say, what's the big deal about that? Well, the difference about that is before streaming, you had two separate purchases. Your single was one purchase and your album was another purchase. So if you bought an album, you didn't necessarily get the single. So if you bought a single, it didn't count towards your album sales and vice versa. Now there's basically one and the same. Because there's no difference. It's still counting because I can just go to the album and listen to one song over and over again on the album, and I still kind of bought the album because I bought the subscription to whatever. So does that cause some of the cachet of going gold and platinum to lose some of it? Now, I'll admit, I've never been super infatuated with knowing what's gone gold, what's gone platinum. I like the music. There's a lot. The albums that I have in my phone aren't even charting on that necessarily. A lot of them are mixtapes from a lot of underground artists, like Young Roddy and some people like that. So I give two shits about, whether you get platinum or gold. I don't even know when these artists go platinum and gold. The only reason we know some of these artists go platinum and gold is because they tell us. Which is why J. Cole was so amazing, because his single didn't even really sell his album. The single was okay, but it wasn't even the main song on the album. Apparently it was cool, but No Role Models was the big one. Wet Dreams was the big one. And Fire Squad was the big one on that album. And it went double platinum. He didn't even tell anybody. And he didn't tell anybody. It went double platinum, no features. And we just found out about it. And the shit just spread like wildfire. He didn't have a big coming out party, at least not that I know of. I don't think he had a big coming out party where I went double platinum and da 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 da. And it's not knocking anybody that does get excited and go on the social media and promote that they went double platinum. Not at all. But this little hack is why we're seeing weird shit as far as albums coming out. It's the reason why we're seeing that Chris Brown album that had 50 songs on it. It's the reason why 2 Chainz album that came out last year, why it had songs that were 2 years old on it. Because he put the song on it there because it automatically boosted the album, so his album ranked higher. And his album ranked higher, and your album ranks higher in the charts. So when people go to like top 40 or whatever, he's trending as a top album. So you see it first. Because if he doesn't have those streams on there, if he doesn't have those millions of streams that got that boost, he falls lower on the chart. Which ends up being my takeaway from this as far as does going platinum and gold mean anything? At the end of the day, it means about as much as award shows and Grammys mean. Does it mean anything to you in your personal life as far as you being vindicated as an artist? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, for the most part, people don't look at the Grammys and think that is the best artist that music has to offer. Most of the music we listen to on a daily basis are probably not Grammy winners. Just off of sheer numbers alone, that's just not likely. But what it is it's a check. What you can charge as an artist, what you can charge people for a feature, what you can charge people for a track production, what you can charge people for writing, it goes up because you're a 2-time platinum artist, a gold artist, a diamond artist, a Grammy Award winner. When you get to say that, and you get to go to another label because you're doing some work for an artist or whatever, you get to charge more. That's why we keep going through this whole charade, why we keep playing these fucking games of platinum and Grammys and award shows and da-da-da-da-da. Because these are checks, all right? These are checks. When Rhapsody gets nominated multiple times for her Grammy and gets that Grammy from the feature she did on Kendrick's album a couple years ago, that raised her prestige. So now whenever she does a feature for somebody, before she may have charged $20,000, now she could charge $40,000 or $50,000 because she's Grammy nominated. That's the difference. Or Grammy Award winning. That's the difference. And the same thing goes for platinum and gold. I'm a platinum artist. This is what I charge you. If I go to a producer and a producer doesn't have no plaques, he may have a good name, may be able to charge what he charges, but if he has plaques, he can charge me more. And when I ask why, he's able to back it up. And for the average people, underground artists or whatever, just doing person-to-person deals, sure, it's not a big deal. But if you're, say, Cardi B, great example, Cardi B, and Cardi B's getting these features from SZA, and these features from Kehlani, and features from 21 Savage, there's a big difference in the price between all 3 of those. One, SZA is higher than Kehlani. Kehlani is higher than 21 Savage. SZA's got multiple Grammy nominations. Kehlani I know she has some accolades. I don't know what they are top, but she has a major following and does big streaming numbers. And 21 Savage now does big streaming numbers. So the takeaway is yes, it does mean something if you're an artist and if you're in the music business. And since I mentioned 21 Savage, that is the perfect segue to our next segment, Knocking Boots. Now, unfortunately, these two will not be knocking boots anymore. 21 Savage and Amber Rose. Well, they may be knocking boots still, but they're not together, dating. However, they're not an item. Let's say that. They're not an item. We're not going to be seeing pictures of them holding hands at marches anytime soon. At least as it stands right now. And this was an interesting relationship that I saw from the beginning, and I kind of saw it and I was like, that's weird. Because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, one of them thirsty niggas on Amber Rose's page when she posted videos of her twerking and shit. I double tap that shit, nigga. I double tap. So when I saw and she was setting up the thirst trap like I had never seen before. She was on Instagram in her bed, just in some lingerie, just all day for about a couple weeks. That was all she was posting. And then a couple weeks later, I see a TMZ thing, and this is last year. I see a TMZ thing, 21 Savage and Amber Rose together. And I thought, okay, well, he must have fit the bill for what you wanted. And he did fit the bill in more ways than one. He fit the bill as a young, up-and-coming artist with a following and a lot of momentum. But she fit the bill for him, too, as something to expand his following, expand his reach. I want to point this out because Amber Rose looks like the blood-sucking leech in this relationship, and I'm not going to call her this as so because this relationship appeared to be beneficial for both of them. 21 Savage is exactly that. 21 or 22, has a lot of money, didn't know how to take care of himself, and Amber Rose, to a certain extent, had to make this nigga a man. It had to be like, hey, quit sipping so much goddamn lean. Drink some water. Take your vitamins. And come fuck me. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what Amber Rose had to be there to do. But Amber Rose gave 21 Savage more headlines because Amber Rose is already being followed. And is already being questioned by TMZ and and Gossip and because she had a relationship, she's been on the map since Kanye. And then she solidified on the map with Wiz Khalifa. And she super solidified on the map with Wiz Khalifa's baby. So 21 Savage linking up with Amber Rose was a come up for 21 Savage. And then 21 Savage ended up being a platform for Amber Rose to spread her following too. And I won't lie, the two looked like they were genuinely enjoying each other's company and they looked like they did have love for each other. And that's what she said, and I pointed out because she interviewed Big Boy recently. And that's what she said. She said, I still got love for him. She still said she got love for Wiz Khalifa too, but that's the father of her child, so I expect that. I don't know how she feels about Kanye, and that's whatever. So Amber Rose, and I think Amber Rose has a Grammy too, ironically enough, because she was on one of the Kanye West songs that won a Grammy. I'm going to have to look it up and get back to y'all. But Amber Rose ain't going nowhere, y'all. She's here to stay. So if you want, you call her a blood-sucking leech all you want, but she does add value. she is here for a purpose other than just the slut walk. So that's kind of my little rant on it, and I don't know if it was necessarily intentional for them both to boost each other or if it was organic. Either way, I was happy to see them together. It's unfortunate it didn't work out. But that's just kind of how shit happens. He's still young, she's got a baby, she's doing a lot of business moves. It's just kind of how shit happens sometimes. But it's good when you know that you can. It's always good when the two of you can feel out a relationship and split before you devote too much time, before you sacrifice too much, and your sacrifices end up not being worth it. And that's really kind of the unfortunate thing when a relationship splits after anything more than kind of a year, maybe a year and a half, is you don't get that time back. And hopefully you can look back at that time and say, you know what? I was still happy that that's how I spent that year and a half. And you don't have any regrets thinking, oh, I should have done that. I should have done something else. I should have found someone else. I should have broken off a long time ago. If you ever have those thoughts in your relationship, you got to talk to your partner ASAP, get that shit worked out. Whether it's you communicating what you don't like about the relationship, or whether it's you just knocking the relationship out altogether and you trying to find what it is you want, someone that fits that bill perfectly. So that's my takeaway for this one. And my last topic is going to be Jay-Z. Jay-Z has been on a roll since 444 came out. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you would have talked to me before Jay-Z's 444 came out, I would have told you Jay-Z was overrated. Based off the Magna Carta album, and in my personal opinion, I always felt Jay-Z was too mainstream, I guess, sort of. And that's how he was able to sustain, his top, sustain at the top of not just hip hop, but just music for so many years, is he knew how to make mainstream songs, but that still felt hip hop. It never really felt like Jay-Z necessarily sold out. It always felt like what Jay-Z was doing was some dope shit. Because Jay-Z, as an artist within hip hop, is the culture in the sense. And not just him, but all artists and producers are a part of the culture. He just happened to be the biggest one for a long time. And the thing is I, in my personal opinion, the guy I felt that doesn't get enough props is actually Ludacris, who put out music for roughly the same time period. He hadn't put out music for as long as Jay-Z did, but put out music in the same time period that Jay-Z did and was able to do similar numbers. And quite frankly, as a kid listening to it, I always more so gravitated to Ludacris than I did Jay-Z. But that's whatever. Jay-Z completely changed my perspective when this 444 album came out, and I've looked at his music differently ever since. And I have nothing negative to say about Jay-Z. But Jay-Z, the reason I'm bringing him up is he's a guest on David Letterman's show that's on Netflix. I think it comes out today, on Friday. And there's been different clips that he's put out, but one of the clips that came out a couple days ago was where Blue was talking to him, and he said he looked at his kids and he smiled because All his whole family is healthy. Him, his wife, and his 3 kids are all happy and healthy. And at the end of the day, that is priceless. A happy, healthy family is priceless. Because a happy, healthy family can happen regardless of whether you're a billionaire Jay-Z, whether you make 100,000 or whether you make 50,000. If you're healthy and happy, that can be achieved at any of those points. There's just a lot of different things you have to come to grips to get to that point, and that's fine. But part of it is stepping back and really appreciating it. You know, and it made me think, and honestly, I'm not only impressed, but kind of in a little amazement and a little awe, because when Jay-Z went on his tour for this 444 tour last year, I didn't know I was going to see so much Jay-Z advertisement. I didn't know I was going to be seeing advertisement for the tour, regular commercials on TV. I didn't know I was going to be seeing, you know, constant ads on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, literally everywhere I went. I was seeing these advertisements for his tour. And he's been doing interviews since the album coming out, and he's really kind of highlighted and described the way that him and Beyonce have come to a place where they're at peace, where they're happy with their relationship and where they were able to work things out and be open and honest and have dialogue and communicate and not feel weird about the things that have happened. Because all of us have probably been in relationships where things get weird, and it's just weird for a long time. And sometimes you talk about it, sometimes you don't. And a lot of times y'all just kind of look at each other, because I've had it, you know, with my girlfriend too, where one of us says or does something and it's just kind of weird for a week. And you don't really have that real peace there. And that's always unfortunate. But getting back to Jay-Z, now come a couple weeks ago, he announces the On the Run 2 tour with him and Beyonce. And I think, and about a week after it was announced, I'm driving down the road and I see, over the course of a 5-mile span, I see 3 billboards for it. In addition to commercials and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere advertisement. And I'm like, this nigga's advertising billboards in Phoenix, Arizona? He's from New York. He's from Brooklyn. He's advertising billboards here? He's independent. Let's be clear. He is not on a label. It is his label. That is independent. No other independent artist is doing anything at this level. I'm sorry, it's no disrespect to no independent artist. But if anything, I hope this serves as a motivator for anybody independent, including myself, that there are no limits because you're independent. The ceiling is just that much higher. Because that's how you get to this billionaire status. If you look at the 3 billionaires in music, let's be clear, 3 billionaires in music, not hip hop, but music, rock, country, all that. The 3 billionaires, Dr. Dre, Diddy, Jay-Z. They have 2 things in common. One is that they all come from hip hop, and 2 is that they had independent labels with major success. Bad Boy, Aftermath, and Rockefeller. And they were able to do it from the jump, sort of. Obviously, Diddy did things before. Dr. Dre did things before. Jay-Z came out with it, but he was initially trying to get label deals. But for the most part, they had their biggest success. They had their biggest success on their own independent label, and that's the key. But as I get back to this, I thought to myself, wow, he must be really happy right now. Jay-Z must be really happy right now. For anybody to say that he's going on tour around the world with his wife, his daughter, and his newborn twins. I don't know a lot of people that could say they could do that. And fuck if it's a tour, who can work together with their wife or spouse or whoever, who can work together with their partner, travel the world with their kids? Fuck that. Who can work together with their partner, period, and have that shit work out? Working with your partner is incredibly difficult. And not because either person is going to get feelings or anything. It's just difficult. It's difficult spending 24/7 with somebody. That's why marriage is difficult. That's why relationships are difficult. That's why family is difficult as a whole. But being able to merge his family and his business all into one, that is the true definition of an empire. And I've gotten flack for giving so much praise to Jay-Z and Beyonce because of some of the infidelities. No, I won't say that cheating is okay. But I will say it's not okay. But sometimes cheating is okay to work through. Sometimes someone cheats, you just gotta axe that shit. It's a wrap, and don't talk to that person, nobody. But sometimes it is worth it to work it out. And the only person that can know whether it's worth it to work it out is you yourself. You yourself in that relationship. You can get advice from whoever you want to, but at the end of the day, it's you that has to figure it out. It's you that has to decide. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And from my perspective, I don't know who can provide what Jay-Z does to Beyonce, not just on a financial level, but an emotional level too, and what that does to their family. You know, even if they didn't have the twins, it was just Blue. These are two of the biggest artists. These are two of the most famous people in the world. Fuck artists. These are two of the most, probably top 20 most famous, recognizable megastars in the world. And now you guys got to go through that as single parents. It may not be necessarily worth it to work it out, but it is worth taking a look at. And that's in my personal opinion. And obviously, Beyonce seemed to have felt a similar way, that it was worth re-examining and re-looking into before she threw away. Before, if you are, but you're not thrown away that time. Because from a relationship standpoint, you do got to start over with somebody else. You got to go on a first date again and all that. But I just found it truly amazing to be able to be in that space. And it makes me want to really appreciate the little things like good health, like being happy, by just, being able to meditate and mentally being in a good space, not being so stressed out. Not that I don't have stressful things that I have to do, but I don't feel stressed out. And I really hope everybody get to a point like that. I really do. I don't wish that upon anybody that they can't. And before I let you guys go, I'm gonna just kind of give, my own little personal synopsis of how I feel about it. And personally, I really felt the true value of a healthy family over the past year when I lost my grandfather. I lost my tata last year, and he had been sick for a long time, like years. He was sick for years before he passed. But we all kind of felt that last year may have been the last year. Christmas in, I think would be 2016. It kind of felt like that may have been the last Christmas, if you know what I'm saying. And I recognize that probably a couple months, but I recognize that probably a year or so before he passed. And I made it a mission of mine to say everything I wanted to say to him, to do everything I wanted to do with him before he passed, to really appreciate the time that I had with him. And it brought in me that it's not just him, it's my family. I have to appreciate all the time that I have with my family while they're here. And I have to appreciate the health that my family has while they're still here. Whether that be my mom, my dad, my nanny, or my tata. So I urge everybody else to do the same. I'm not sure what your family may be. Your family may be your birth parents. It may not be. You may be adopted. You may be your grandparents. It may be your auntie, your uncle. But in my personal opinion, family is who gives you unconditional love, and you give unconditional love back to them. That's what I consider family. If anything short of that, we're relatives, we're friends, whatever label you want to put on it. But as far as unconditional love, that's what family is. So I really hope everybody takes that to heart, and maybe you are in this space already, or maybe you are going through something similar where you got a loved one that's sick. And if you do have a loved one that's sick, that's a family member, give them a hug, give them a kiss every day if you can. If you're not close enough that you can give them a hug and a kiss every day, call them every day. Tell them you love them every day. That is my advice to everybody. All right. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Falsetto Audio Show. This is your boy Daniel Tye, D-Tye 90, also known as a student of hip hop, and I'm out.